sorry. You know, you read a text message and it's hella funny. No, so I just want to say congratulations to Beyonce on her purchase. It's a shared purchase, I guess. Like Jay Z also contributed, but they just bought the most expensive house on planet Earth for $200 million in Malibu. So if you didn't see that, yes. So let's talk about this. I meant to read this article like a couple days ago, and I forgot. Well, I didn't forget. I just didn't have time. Lots of shit has been happening. Okay. No, I don't want that. So Beyonce's Renaissance tour could out earn Taylor Swift's Eras tour by $500 million. It's good to be queen. Facts. Beyonce Giselle Knowles Carter, also known as Queen Bee, could clear nearly $2.1 billion from her Renaissance World Tour, some 500 million more than the 1.6 billion Taylor Swift could earn from Eras. That's a lot of money. Um, those eye-popping estimates are based on the most optimistic assumptions of the number of fans buying tickets at their concerts and the high average ticket prices of about $700. They also assume the artists take home considerable shares of merchandise proceeds and pay tour expenses of 20% of revenues, leaving them with the other 80%. Renaissance could gross between 275 million and 2.4 billion from tickets alone by the time it ends in September. Beyonce's most optimistic ticket revenue estimate, $2.4 billion, is well above the era's 1.9 billion most optimistic box office. Due to fans' pent up desire to attend in person concerts at the end of a more than 3 year pandemic, using optimistic assumptions makes sense to me. Born in Houston, Texas, Beyonce entered the industry in the 1990s with Destiny's Child, achieved solo success with number one albums like Dangerously in Love and B Day, headlined the NFL Super Bowl 50, and so much more. Odds are good Renaissance could be Beyonce's most lucrative concert tour, possibly exceeding the revenue she's earned from all her previous concerts combined. Wow. In addition to being exceptionally talented artists, Beyonce and Swift are excellent business executives. This is true. A key part of the executive job is choosing a business strategy, making decisions about which products to sell, where to sell them, and how much to charge customers, and executing it flawlessly. Both artists pursue a differentiation strategy, meaning they charge premium prices for a higher quality product that may cost more to produce. Another common business strategy, cost leadership, selling a good product at the lowest price with the lower cost, is probably rare among performers. The experts I interviewed who have not reviewed their contracts highlight some business strategy differences and similarities between them. Swift may retain a larger share of ticket sales than does Beyonce. Swift has a more extensive merchandising strategy than Beyonce. Beyonce and Swift have high tour expenses, and their average ticket prices for their 2023 tours are around $700. Swift and Beyonce's share of ticket sales, Swift probably receives between 100% and 110% of ticketing revenues. As David Hurley, a Northeastern University teaching professor and music industry program coordinator, told me, her promoter should be happy to pay her more because he does not have to assume any risk that all her concerts will sell out. Beyonce may receive close to that amount. Beyonce could have an escalating rate based on the number of tickets sold or a flat percentage per ticket. Considering her prior success, she certainly command the upper 90th percentile or more, according to a May 6th email from Armin Shamonian, University of Southern Carolina Associate Professor of Entertainment Management. Sponsors and other partnerships can help top artists guarantee high concert proceeds. Beyonce's case sponsors include several major corporations such as Citi, Verizon, and Tiffany. Her entire Renaissance tour production is handled by her production company, Parkwood Entertainment, and promoted by Live Nation, which drives a higher percentage of revenue directly to Beyonce. Shamian explained. Swift and Beyonce's merchandising strategies. Swift and Beyonce have different brands and varying merchandising strategies. Swift has an extensive merchandising strategy. As Hurley explained, at each venue she would likely sell out 30,000 pieces of merchandise at an average price of $80 per item. 30% of that would go to the venue and the remainder would go to Swift and the promoter. Wow. This initial estimate of her merchandising revenues was low. He told me in April, I recently discovered the venues may charge less of a commission, 20%, rather than the 30% I originally cited. Also, that commission is within Taylor's purview to negotiate down. Swift's strategy is more extensive than Beyonce's. Swift's aim is to build a lifestyle brand for a certain demographic. Looking at it from a fan angle, Swifties have access to a plethora of year-round options when it comes to brand merch, Shimonian noted. These include 10 Eras albums she has been selling on her website since January, along with hundreds of merch items ranging from vinyl albums to activity books and ornaments, he wrote. Beyonce's website, which offers downloads of her singles and some of her vinyl records for purchase, features far less merchandise than does Swift's and will generate less profit than hers. However, Beyonce's lack of online merchandising may result in a high-priced concert merch. The lack of merch on Beyonce's online shop could also be a part of her strategy in that tour-specific merch will only be available for purchase during her concerts, likely at a premium. Swift and Beyonce ticket prices and costs. One thing Swift and Beyonce share is a high average ticket price. Shimonian told me last week that Swift's average ticket price is likely $700 or more. Beyonce's average ticket price could be $685 or more. On May 6, he told me ticket prices are only going up, and there are large sections of tickets on Beyonce's tour dedicated to its Beehive and Club Renaissance close to the stage, along with some shows where the entire floor level is a standing room setting, Stockholm, for example. Such tickets are all sold at a premium. Think of it as a flight having more first and business class seats that are sold at a premium, which pushes up the average fare, he concluded. Swift will probably keep 80% of her revenues. As Hurley explained last year, she has to pay taxes, her crew, venue rental and tour expenses, probably redundant trucks, crew, security, musical instruments, and so on. These expenses could range between 20 and 25% of her revenue. He thinks marketing expenses for the Eras tour were lower than normal because the shows were an automatic sellout. The expenditure of huge promotion and marketing dollars to stimulate sales was somewhat unnecessary, thus less of a dedication off top, he says. Both artists have high tour expenses. I've seen quotes of 50 semis for Eras, and that's huge. I'd anticipate Beyonce is being close to that, judging by her last On the Run Tour 2, noted Shimonian. Renaissance ticket sales estimates. Renaissance ticket revenues could range from $275 million to $2.5 billion. Conservative Renaissance venue estimates range from $275 million to $428 million. In early February, Billboard estimated Renaissance would generate between $275 million and $428 million in ticket revenue using the following assumptions to generate the $275 million estimate. Renaissance is to host 41 shows. The average ticket price is $200. The share of the ticket revenue is 100%. Average revenue per show is $6.71 million. Wow. With 4 more shows, Renaissance could generate $300 million in revenue. Billboard estimated in February. Wow. By May 7th, the number of Renaissance shows had expanded from 41 to 57, according to Ticketmaster. Should Beyonce perform at 57 concerts using Billboard's $6.71 million in revenue per show, Renaissance would generate $382 million in revenue. Using the high-end estimate of Billboard's per show revenue of $7.5 million, Renaissance could generate ticket sales of about $428 million. The optimistic estimate ranges from $713 million to $2.4 billion. Using a more optimistic assumption about the number of tickets sold at each concert and a higher average price per ticket, I estimate the Renaissance tour Revenue could range from 713 million to 2.4 billion, and here are the most significant assumptions I used. All 57 concerts are completely sold out. The average concert capacity per venue totals 65,860 fans based on my analysis of data from each venue. 95% of the average number of fans in the venue buys tickets because the artist blocks off seats for their stage set and give away some seats at no charge. The low and high average ticket price ranges from $200 to $678, according to TicketSmarter. Beyonce's previous concert tours, Beyonce is likely to surpass $1 billion in her lifetime gross sales by the time she collects her Renaissance proceeds. As Billboard reported, she has grossed $767 million and sold 8.9 million tickets across 375 shows, including those with Jay-Z and the Verizon Ladies First Tour, a co-headline run with Missy Elliott and Alicia Keys in 2004. Here are the proceeds of some of her most recent tours. On the Run 2014 with her husband Jay-Z grossed $95 million, according to Billboard. The Formation World Tour in 2016 grossed about $256 million per complex. On the Run 2 in 2018 grossed $254 million in gross revenue. If Beyonce reaches the high end of my most optimistic estimate, Renaissance will far surpass the gross revenues of all her previous concerts. How much will Beyonce and Swift take home? Beyonce could earn higher proceeds from Renaissance than will Swift from Eras. More specifically, Renaissance proceeds for Beyonce could range between $680 million and nearly $2.1 billion, using her $200 per ticket at the low end of $648 respectively. That surpasses the profit range of $553 million and $1.62 billion for Eras. The Renaissance profit. Queen Bee's profit from Renaissance derived from the following assumptions. Gross ticket sales ranging from $751 million and $2.57 billion based on the low and high average prices for all 52 concerts. Merchandise revenue of about $171 million based on the assumption that she will sell 30,000 items at an average price of $100, assuming that her prices will be higher than Swift's once they are only available at the concerts. Beyonce would keep 80% of the merchandise revenue per Hurley Lily, and she would subtract off 20% of her ticketing and merchandise revenue share per Her Lily to pay for the tour expenses by keeping the other 80% as Her Lily suggested. Eras profit. Taylor Swift, who is about 8 years younger than Beyonce, potentially has many years to surpass that, what is likely to be a Bofo Eras box office this year. Swift could gross between $620 million and $1.9 billion from Eras, depending on whether the average ticket price is $215 or $700. Using similar assumptions regarding her take of the merchandise sales at the concerts and tour expenses, Swift could net $553 million, assuming an average ticket price of $215, and as much as $1.6 billion if her average Eras ticket price is $700. After a 3-year pandemic, two great artists and business executives are charging premium prices to full houses as they cash in on their talent. Beyonce and T-Swizzle are making bank.